Basketball on BTN is presented by Quicken Loans for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze. And brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. Back in East Lansing, where the Spartans have won 24 of their last 25 against the Wildcats. It's time for our Buffalo Wild Wings starting lineups, and we start, Jimmy, with Northwestern.
Important, Sanjay Lumpkin will be matched up with against Adrian Payne. Can't get into foul trouble. He's giving up height. He has to use his quickness against the size of Adrian Payne.
Should be an interesting matchup there. Meanwhile, from Michigan State's point of view, what stands out to you?
A couple things. Adrian Payne running the court, opening up the perimeter for Travis Trice. But Denzel Valentine's been playing a lot of solid basketball. Look for him to make a lot of plays in their half-court set, but in particular when they get out in transition.
The only player in the league in the top 10 in rebounding and assists. As you take a look at Tom Izzo getting his lineup ready, and he's had a lot of different lineups to get ready this year. Our staples make more happen. How about 14 different starting lineups in 20 games? That not something that has been done by choice, Jimmy. That's been a function of the injuries, obviously.
Not the definition of continuity.
And yet, despite all of that, Michigan State is right there atop the Big Ten. They come in a half a game behind their arch rivals, Michigan. So a win here tonight would move the Spartans even with the Wolverines. And remember, they play again on February the 23rd. Michigan won the matchup earlier this year. You see Northwestern, it's been an amazing story. 5-6 so far this year after starting 0-3 in the league. And Chris Collins starting to mold the team in his image, Jimmy.
It's all about continuity for them defensively, but offensively taking good shots. They want to get the ball in Jershawn Cobb's hand, or Drew Crawford's hand, to make plays, okay? And that's something we're going to look at when they run their offense, swing it around. They want their playmakers to have the basketball.
You saw Tom Izzo's 6 Final Fours during his tenure here in East Lansing. The Spartans win the tip. Travis Trice running the point, as we told you again. Keith Appling still out with the wrist injury. They hope to have him back next week. Adrian Payne now to Harris, back out to Trice. Northwestern starting in the man. Chris Collins saying today at shoot-around they might dabble with the zone, depending on how they're able to do against this guy, Payne. Ducking through, has it blocked by Ola. Payne gets it back, and a double dribble.
But that's the matchup that Michigan State wants to look at. And Tom Izzo talked about going to Adrian Payne early because he felt that in the Wisconsin game, they really didn't exploit Adrian inside enough. So look for that early and often in this evening's game. I
was talking to Dane Fife before the game, Michigan State assistant, and he said he thinks that is the key matchup, how Northwestern defends Adrian Payne. So now the Wildcats on offense, which, unlike the defensive end, has been a struggle for them of late. Here's Drew Crawford down to Ola. 10 to shoot. Northwestern is going to be patient. Harris, the near steal on Abrahamson, and now the Wildcats have to get something going towards the rim. Jershawn Cobb just throws one up. Payne the rebound, and here comes Michigan State. Now this is Valentine. And Trice inside Costello. Working his way in on Ola. Gets it to go.
And see, that's the point. Long shot. Now Michigan State can get out and run. And now they're playing against a defense that can't help as much. That's why you see the one-on-one coverage. Costello easily able to get deep post position and get an easy 2 inside.
Costello not known as a scorer, averaging just about 5 points per game. Gets the first 2 of this one. Now Drew Crawford for 3, and he got it.
Confidence. This is a different Drew Crawford that we see this year. Once Coach Collins kind of brought Drew to the side and said, look, you're going to be the man. And now he wears that badge extremely well for Northwestern.
Trice trying to answer, cannot. Battle for the board. It goes to Payne. Back over to Costello, up with it, no good. Thought he might have been fouled. Valentine can't get it to go. Payne again on the offensive glass. And again, Adrian Payne gets the first 2 for him in this game and puts Michigan State back on top.
Yeah, Chris Collins is not happy with that defensive effort. One of the things they have to do well is rebound the basketball defensively. That time giving up multiple opportunities to a bigger Michigan State team.
3 offensive rebounds on that possession. Northwestern answers behind Cobb. Wildcats have done a better job this year keeping teams off the offensive glass. They're still not a great rebounding team in terms of the numbers because they don't go after offensive rebounds at all, but that was not an example of improvement.
Well, that's when your guards really have to be engaged and come up and clean up some of those loose and long rebounds as well, Dave.
Harris gets it to go. Gary Harris, who struggled mightily, went 3 of 20 against Wisconsin in the loss on Sunday.
And good sign because he didn't settle for a 3 to open the game. He kind of got it within 15 feet, got an easy look at the basket. Even though it was contested, it was right in his wheelhouse.
Abrahamson having all kinds of trouble over and back, and frankly, that fortuitous for Northwestern. That's one of those plays where you would think it could be like a delayed penalty in hockey. Just let it go because Michigan State had the advantage. You see Chris Collins quickly taking Abrahamson out. And there we see Dawson and Appling on the bench. Again, both nursing injuries. Dawson gets the screws out on February the 20th. Unclear whether he'll be ready to go for that Michigan game. And then again, Appling, as I mentioned, they hope to have him back next week, Jimmy.
Take your time. Come back when you're right, because the bigger picture is trying to get a national championship. As much as you want, you see a hole right there by Drew Crawford. You want to get another Big Ten title. If that happens to be the case, fine. But the big picture is trying to place that trophy in April. Did you see the pick and roll right here? Adrian Payne, Drew Crawford got caught on the backside. Wasn't able to get in front of Adrian Payne. Dave, can I say this? I'm going to get this out the way. At shoot-around, usually I'm accepted with open arms.
Yeah.
But for some reason today,
it was weird.
It was a little. Coach Izzo didn't really want to shake my hand. A lot of the fans didn't talk to me, but I don't know why.
Denzel Valentine hitting the open 3.
Felt the animosity for some reason. I don't know.
Might have had something to do with the events of Sunday night and a certain Trayvon Jackson hitting a game winner against the Spartans as Cobb is fouled by Payne. And here, I think this is the explanation. I don't know if you saw how this game ended on Sunday against Wisconsin. Adrian Payne hitting a good shot, and then a guy who looks an awful lot like you.
Listen, it wasn't me that shot it, so you can't take it out on me. I got nothing but love for Michigan State. It was just a heck of a shot by a player that happens to have some very, 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 very good genes.
And Jershawn Cobb hitting the first free throw. 3 points now for the junior as the Chicago area native Alvin Ellis checks in. And Gavin Schilling in there as well. Costello will sit down.
But early in this game, you see when Northwestern is able to move the ball and strike quick, they can get shots going to the basket, high percentage shots. And if you want to stay in this game, you have to be patient offensively and pick your spots, because if you do, you're going to be able to get some good shots at the basket.
Remember, Northwestern has gone to Wisconsin in 1, Indiana, Minnesota. They're riding a 3-game conference road losing streak, winning streak, I should say. First time in more than a half century.
Dave, in those games, a couple things they did well. They didn't give up a lot of transition baskets, but they also took care of the basketball, which allowed them to stay in the game.
You see Trey Dempsey's in there. He replaced Abrahamson, who had the early struggles. Demps, the leading scorer off the bench in the Big Ten. A 10 to shoot, so again the shot clock a factor. Crawford misses badly, and Payne the rebound. Here comes Harris for the Spartans. They want to run it if they can. And will they count the basket? No. DJ Carstensen waves it off. A foul on the floor on Northwestern. So the Spartans and Wildcats both off to solid offensive starts as Michigan State on top 9-7. This week, the Journey Big Ten Basketball 2014 features Ohio State's Shannon Scott and Sam Thompson, Northwestern's Drew Crawford, and Michigan State's Denzel Valentine. You can see the stories at 5 p.m. Eastern immediately following Nebraska and Michigan State, only on BTN. And that guy will be part of the story, Drew Valentine, Denzel's brother, who is serving as a graduate manager after finishing his career at Oakland University. And, of course, Spartan fans are familiar with Carlton Valentine, who was Denzel's coach in high school and, of course, played for Michigan State in the mid-'80s. Great Judd Heathcote, so we'll follow the family lineage. Again, that's the journey coming up this weekend. And as I mentioned, Drew Crawford being featured as well. That will be a discussion of his decision to return to Northwestern for his final season. Here's Harris now taking it into the lane. Nice move by Gary Harris.
Once again, not settling for a jump shot, attacking off the dribble. When you're a player that struggled the previous game, you want to figure out ways to get easy baskets. And you do that by putting your head down and getting inside the paint. Excellent job again by Gary Harris.
Well, he is 2 of 2 from the field. Again, 3 of 20 against Wisconsin, 0 of 7 behind the arc. Here's Trey Demps. Now Ola being guarded by Schilling. Again, the shot clock at 10. Crawford. Now Cobb hits the three-pointer.
Well, that was excellent help defense that time by Michigan State. But Cobb able to catch in rhythm and knock down a tough shot right at the end of the shot clock.
And now Harris, little greater degree of difficulty with the same result. So Gary Harris already with 7 points in this game. Cobb has 7 as well for Northwestern.
Rhythm. That's what it is right now with Gary Harris.
Crawford gets in close and gets it to go. That's 5 for Crawford. Northwestern able to get back on defense. Again, Michigan State going to try to run. As good an outside shooters you'll see there. Kenny Kaminsky misses that one. And now Cobb brings it across for the Wildcats. Crawford. And the rebound is Schilling.
And I like to see Drew on the top of that pick and roll attack a little bit more off the dribble, not settle for the jump shot. He has the size to finish inside.
Harris misses for the first time in this game. Ola the rebound for the Wildcats. The rebounding totals are interesting so far in this game. It is 8-2, but I think more interesting is the fact that Adrian Payne has 6 rebounds. Here's Ola inside, and despite that, this game is tied up.
Excellent seal inside and delivery for Ola. Getting deep post position early off the break. And he can be effective down low. I mean, he doesn't have to do a lot, but if he can get deep position, it's going to be hard for Michigan State, especially Gavin, to get him off and root him off the paint.
Lumpkin, who is an excellent defender, knocking that one away.
Well, right here, Gavin is able to get his space in early and get his place. And look at the right hand. Available to the baseline, a little hesitation, but patient. Gathered himself, able to finish inside. And I think that's an area, too. If you're Northwestern, you want to kind of exploit that when Ola has a chance to get deep inside.
You're talking to Chris Collins, talk a lot about the players he inherited, and Ola is one who he feels can be a very important building block for this program going forward. Trice for 2 on the shot clock, and Travis Trice hits it. So Trice, a 43% three-point shooter, 3rd best in the Big Ten. Hits one with the shot clock winding down and puts the Spartans back on top. Cobb answers for the Wildcats. That's 10 for Jershawn Cobb.
Well, this doesn't look like a Northwestern team that struggles scoring at times.
No.
Because, I mean, they're stepping up and firing with confidence.
Trice tries to get another one. Offensive rebound, Kaminsky.
But Kaminsky just wanted it a little bit more than Jershawn Cobb that time. Cobb was there, but really didn't root Kaminsky out inside. Able to get the offensive rebound.
There's Sanjay Lumpkin. Lumpkin gets himself buried down and under. And the Spartans have it. Here comes Valentine, one-on-one with Cobb. The jumper doesn't go. Crawford clears the defensive glass. Cobb feeling it. That one is short, and Payne the rebound. There's Payne. Nicolai Chirena is in there for the Wildcats. Cobb grabs the board.
I like the move, the thought process, not maybe the fade away for Payne that time, but this height, I thought he could just turn to the baseline and go right over the top. But he settled for a fade away.
Wildcats 6 of 10 from the field early on. Cobb has been the offensive story, and he continues to be. A dozen for Jershawn Cobb. 4th straight game in double figures. Valentine cut off on the baseline, and Demps the rebound, and he is fouled by Valentine. So it's been a higher scoring game, I think, than we expected. Jershawn Cobb's been great, Jimmy.
Well, he has confidence right now. He hit a couple shots. Jershawn Cobb, not afraid to put it up. Keeping Northwestern right in this game, 19-19. And we head into a timeout.
Registration is now open for the 2014 BTN Big 10K. Represent your Big Ten school on July 26th in Chicago. The 10K and 5K races include a post-race tailgate with the mascots. And look, you can look like me.
He is done. Get that guy some water.
I set a personal record. I want you to know.
Jared,
Donato didn't look so good. He's the only person I passed in the race.
You know what? Next year, I'm going to make sure that I'm there. I'm not running. I'm just going to be at the finish line waiting for you guys.
There's Shawnee. Again, www.btnbig10k.com. And a fitting way to end it, Commissioner Jim Delaney, who ran last year. I mean, if Jim can do it, and Sean can do it, and
I don't bow to peer pressure.
Donardo can do it, and I can do it.
I don't bow to peer pressure. Don't do it.
It was a great time. Seriously, it is a fantastic event.
It looks fun.
Oh, was it fun?
It looks great.
A great tailgate afterward. You like a tailgate,
I like a tailgate,
right?
So this is what I'll do.
Oh, no, you can't tailgate unless you run.
I'll be there congratulating with towels and Gatorade and everything else.
1919. Yeah, Howard Griffin was the first person who greeted me when I crossed the finish line. I said, not now, Howard.
Yeah, he's smart.
They're traveling there on Crawford, so Northwestern turns it over. The 3rd turnover on the Wildcats here in the first half.
Let's see right here. Travis Trice in position. A little sell point right there. Not the charge that was called, but a little travel by Drew Crawford. But Travis Trice kind of set that play up. And this is where I think Adrian can go to work. You draw the double team, and now you kick.
Follows on Nikola Chirena. That will be his first. There he is, Trey Demps, our Motel 6 6th man. We were talking about this earlier, what a great scorer he has been. Now, Nebraska held him in check. He had just 5 points in that game after 7 straight in double figures. Inside, a blocking foul on Lumpkin, and the basket goes for Costello.
Tough matchup all the way around, in particular when Ola is out of the game. You can either go to Costello or Adrian Payne down low, but just a little inbounds play. That time, bad communication by Northwestern. Drew Crawford not taking the inside position in that pass away, allowing Costello a free rein right to the basket.
That's 2 on Lumpkin. He sits down. Costello to the line, trying to exceed his season average. He is a guy who said in the preseason his goal was to be a Dennis Rodman type for this team. Presumably not with the trips to North Korea. I think he meant a little bit more.
Earrings.
I think he meant a little bit more of defense and rebounding.
But you need, in order to win and win big, you need to have guys that are willing to do the dirty work, okay? And not worried about the score sheet, rebound, taking charges, doing all those things that help teams ultimately win. And he's been doing that thus far.
21-19 Spartans. Here's Demps. Give Northwestern the lead. The rebound to Valentine. Ball seated. Now Trice gets it. That is a 2-pointer for Travis Trice. 5 points now for the junior. Crawford. Here's Demps again.
You see, the difference with that is that Drew Crawford didn't allow the pick and roll to stop him off his dribble. He took 2 dribbles, 3. Now you get to the lane, you draw the defense, and now that's when you have that drive and kick opportunity in the corner. Early on, he kind of just settled for taking a jump shot off the pick and roll.
There's Payne working on Chirena. Demps comes over to double. And Crawford, the near steal. That one ends up in the zone.
Dribble penetration. You get around there. Now you're going to have to draw the defense in. And that's when you have the drive and kick. 2, 3, 4, 3 dribbles. Now you get out. Don't settle. If they're not going to stop you, continue and maintain your dribble. Force Michigan State to guard you off the bounce. That's when you can have some success.
Michigan State will have to shoot it. Harris Contested shot that doesn't go. Chirena the rebound. And Northwestern will walk it across. The Wildcats within one. They are shooting 61.5%. This is a team that shoots under 40% on the year. That is the worst for any power conference team in the nation. Demps misses that one. And now here's Trice. Payne. And a foul on Northwestern.
And you notice something, Chirena and also Ola in the game. They have their bigger lineup right now. Keep Michigan State off the boards. And you mentioned something about Northwestern and their scoring. One of the lower possession teams we have.
Yep.
Okay, maybe
lowest 60, possession.
Maybe 60-something. But right now, they're attacking Michigan State early. Now they're able to get peeks at the basket, where if they set a little bit more, that's when Michigan State is really good defensively.
Russell Bird in there for the Spartans. Some trouble getting it in. He gets it into Kaminsky in the backcourt. We are 12 minutes in here in East Lansing, Northwestern and Michigan State. Tight game so far. Here's Bird. A little bit of a mismatch in there with Demps and Kaminsky, unable to take advantage of it. Now Bird thought about the three. Here's Trice with 7 to shoot. Shuffles it off for Kaminsky. Left it short. Rebound Costello. And the foul.
Excellent patience that time by Michigan State, turning it down. And when you do that, you get good shots. Matt Costello. Little Dennis Rodman-like right there.
Michigan State by 3 as we remind you, hockey returns. Another great Frozen Friday doubleheader. First Michigan State travels to Hockey Valley to take on Penn State. Then it's number 2 Minnesota, number 10 Michigan. BTN Frozen Fridays presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Friday night on BTN and BTN to go. And we take a look at the Big Ten hockey standings. Minnesota, Wisconsin took 2 games from what was the number 1 team in the nation. Again, 3 Big Ten teams in the top 10. And then you see the Spartans at 2, 5, and 5. It's been a lot of fun adding hockey to the Big Ten this year. Matt Costello on the free throw line. Already 6 points in this game. And Costello hits the free throw. So 7 for Costello, tying Gary Harris for the team lead. Jershawn Cobb leading all scorers with 12 for Northwestern.
And how valuable will Matt Costello be come March? Having playing in crunch time situation, contributing. See a foul inside. He gives you, now he has the confidence. So when you put him in the game and place him in a situation where he has to make a play, defensive, offensive, he's been in those situations and he's much more comfortable today than he was earlier in the year because of the injury situation. That will bode well for Michigan State later on.
And I hear you. I talked about this today with Tom Izzo a little bit. And, you know, the flip side is you do need some time where you have your entire rotation, the guys you're going to be going with through thick and thin, playing together. I mean, I think that's kind of the challenge here as Cobb misses the 3, Costello the rebound. But you're right. I mean, the flip side of it, the glass is half full approach is here are some guys now who wouldn't have ordinarily been in there in big situations who have that experience. But when push comes to shove, you're going to want Brandon Dawson in the game.
Yeah, you want him, you want the continuity as well, but you do know you can look down the bench and have confidence in who you place in the game if your time isn't.
Harris had it knocked away. Nice defensive possession by the Wildcats, and then a foul on Michigan State. It's going to go on Gary Harris. That'll be 2 quick ones on Harris.
Well, and that's a prime example of how well defensively this Northwestern team, they kind of swarmed the basketball. Just when Michigan State thought they saw an opening, it was someone there to deflect the ball. But then, once the ball was in the air, you saw 2 or 3 Northwestern players kind of hovering around the rebound.
It's interesting, too, in talking to Chris Collins today, he said he really feels like the goal this year with this team was to lay a foundation, to change the character of what this program was going to be as Cobb rattles the 3 out and Crawford can't get the rebound for Payne. So here comes Michigan State. That is 8 rebounds now for Adrian Payne. And he feels like kind of no matter what happens from here on in, they have set that tone that they are going to be a team that plays good, tough defense. Great feed from Valentine to Payne.
And that's what Denzel Valentine can give you. You have to stay disciplined. Force Denzel to shoot the jump shot. If not, he's going to make plays like that all day because he has that kind of ability, especially in tight quarters, to make those tough passes.
Biggest lead of the game for the Spartans. Crawford misses badly. Here's Valentine now in transition. An ear steal by Cobb. Kaminsky not there. Valentine wide open underneath, and he rolls it home. And Northwestern needs a timeout as Michigan State has extended the lead to 8.
You go for a steal in transition. You give something up. Now Michigan State will capitalize on it.
So 30-22, Spartans on top of the Wildcats. Denzel Valentine doing some work on the offensive glass. 22, Michigan State on top of Northwestern. It's time for our Reese's Perfect Combination. Denzel Valentine and Adrian Payne, Jimmy.
Well, that time just a fundamental play, a little pump fake. Once Denzel Valentine gets inside, he's tricky enough. Remember, Tom Izzo said he's a poor version of Magic Johnson. So you saw a little bit of the playmaking ability right there by Valentine.
A destitute man's Magic Johnson.
Hey,
I'll tell you what.
But he placed him. He placed him in that category, yes. So that's a win.
A heck of a play. I mean, that's a hard one to live up to. 10 seconds to shoot. Good defensive possession here by the Spartans. Cobb stripped on his way up. Here comes Trice for Michigan State. Now Valentine. Kaminsky on the baseline. Good extra pass to Trice. Now Bird out of the corner. Not there. And the rebound to Cobb. It feels like this game is being played at Michigan State's pace, Jimmy.
It is. And Northwestern, you want to be opportunistic when you go. But now in this half-court set right here, you got to get a shot. You got to get a good look at the rim.
What is that?
Well, he lost it. I mean, that time he just totally lost it.
Now Valentine. And he is fouled. That falls on Cale Abrahamson. That is number 1 on him. As we take a look at our All-State Insurance Mayhem Index, and it is Denzel Valentine. It's been mayhem in the rotation for the Spartans. I mean, how about that? He is one of only 2 players to play in every single game for Michigan State this year, and he is the only one who's played at least 10 minutes in every game this year.
And that talks to why he's improved so much, because he's been on the court. Fortunately for Denzel Valentine, he hasn't had any injuries, so he had to play with multiple lineups, different positions. He's been asked to do different things, and as a result, he's a much more confident, but more importantly, Dave, effective player for Michigan State.
In case you're curious, Gavin Schilling, the freshman, is the other guy who's played every game for the Spartans. So this is getting into a bit of a danger zone for Northwestern. It was a close game most of the way here in the first half. Now a 9-point ball. Shot clock at 10. Demps for 3, and he got it. Big shot by Trey Demps. Got to stem the tide there for Northwestern.
Big shot. Trey Demps knew he wanted to get to that left hand. Very good at driving to his left off the pick and roll and pulling up for a deep 3. That's his game.
Here's Valentine. Waltzes into the lane. Knocked away by Demps. And it will be Michigan State ball.
Trey Demps using the pick and roll, knowing exactly what he needs to do, trying to bring Northwestern back in this game, only down 6.
Expectations are high. Final 4 bust. We want to win the national championship, and I mean, that's the goal. As I feel like it should be the goal for every team in the Big Ten.
Those are the words of Gary Harris. The banners hang here at the Breslin Center in East Lansing. Magic Johnson led them to the title in 1979. Bettine Cleaves and company in 2000. And this is a team, Jimmy, that if everyone is healthy, I think man for man, this roster stacks up with anyone in the country. It may be the best in America.
With some question why you keep Adrian Payne out for 7 games. Some question about Gary Harris, not Gary Harris, but Keith Appling, the time to see Draymond Green. It's because the bigger goal to me for them as good as the Big Ten championship sounds, it's about national championship. Now, some of our teams in our league want to get to the tournament, of course. They want to win the national championship with the MSU. You need everybody healthy for that.
Northwestern shifting into the zone here. Shot clock at 2. Bird's got to shoot it, and he didn't get it off. You see the hesitance there from Russell Bird to take a shot. So wise move out of the timeout there, Jimmy, to go to the zone.
It was. Coach Izzo probably expecting a man-to-man, had a play drawn up. Excellent counter punch, so to speak, from Chris Collins to go into the zone. Now let's see if they can capitalize.
It's the second turnover for Michigan State. This is the lowest turnover team so far of the Izzo era. Think about a few years ago how turnover prone they were. Now Cobb has had a great first half. 10 seconds to shoot. Ola comes out to set the screen. Here's Crawford. It goes over his head, and Northwestern turns it over for the 5th time. Got the State Farm halftime report coming up. Mike Hall, Stephen Bardo, Sean Morris from our Chicago studio. They will get you caught up on everything going on around the conference. Of course, one other game in the Big Ten as well tonight. Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Northwestern still staying in the zone defense. Look for Michigan State to try to get the ball inside here. They want to exploit that, or maybe on the baseline somewhere. Soften up the zone a little bit.
Valentine on the baseline.
Well, and what you do when you get it on the baseline, now the defense has to shift. If you get it in the middle of the lane, now you have options to swing, or drive the basketball. Excellent movement, but patience by Michigan State finding the gap and open spot in the zone.
Tough floater by Crawford doesn't go. Cobb chases down the long rebound, then tries to shuffle it off to Abrahamson, and Michigan State has it on the turnover. Here's Trice, the transition 3. Good! 8 points now for Travis Trice, and Michigan State's lead out to 11, the biggest it has been.
Yeah, and when you turn the ball over that deep, you don't have balance in the backcourt. Ola inside again. Can he finish?
Yes, he can this time.
Well, good move. He was patient that time. Okay, before he's been off balance, but he regathered himself and went up strong. But in transition, you better get back. When that ball goes up and you turn it over, you need 2 or 3 guys sprinting back to guard Michigan State.
There's Valentine. 3 ball goes. The Spartans really heating up. 11 points now for Denzel Valentine. Michigan State 5 of 10 behind the arc. This 12-point lead now, their biggest of the game. And Demps, a lot of control. Getting loud here at the Breslin Center. Crawford is fouled by Trice.
But notice the difference. Right now, Michigan State is able to basically pass the basketball without any interference around the court. Northwestern on the opposite end, they're struggling to kind of get to the spots they need to get to. Somebody is there. The ball gets deflected. That's why Michigan State is able to get these open shots. Northwestern not applying the same amount of pressure that we saw a little earlier in the game.
Ball was actually on Russell Bird. Both he and Trice were involved in that play. They got Bird for the foul. Now Demps hits to give him 8 points and pull Northwestern back to within 10. Again, the State Farm halftime report coming up less than a minute away from Chicago. And Michigan State takes the use it or lose it timeout. It's 39-29. Michigan State on top of Northwestern. 29. Both teams shooting well. Northwestern at 50%. Michigan State is shade under 49. The difference, Jimmy, has been the second chance points, the offensive glass. Michigan State 10 offensive rebounds. Northwestern 11 defensive rebounds. So basically a 50-50 proposition when it goes up on the glass. Michigan State's taken 11 more shots and hence this lead.
As bad as that is, if you're Northwestern, early in the game you had a chance, you were right neck and neck. You let it go a little bit. Okay, now, strategic-wise, get a stop. See if you can come down and score 16 seconds between the game clock and the shot clock and get this lead under 10. Now you go into the locker room feeling a little bit better about yourself.
Seconds to shoot. It's Trice now guarded by Crawford. Trice trying to get Payne to come out and set a screen for him. 4 to shoot. Trice kind of backs himself into the corner. and a shot clock violation. So that was the first half of your equation, Jimmy. They got the stop.
You got the stop, and now you want to get a quality look at the basket. What's been working well for you? A little pick and roll up top, dribble drive, or Ola getting real deep post position inside.
There's Drew Crawford. 5 seconds, Demps. You had to figure that one was going up with Trey Demps. With a few guys on this team that could really create his own shot, Jimmy.
Well, I'm telling you what, Dave, as soon as he saw Russell Bird was guarding, he immediately called for the ball back, knowing that he could take Russell Bird off the dribble. And Bird has to be a little bit smarter, knowing that Adrian Payne is going to come in and clean it up. You don't have to reach down on that. Allow Adrian Payne to use his size to maybe block the shot.
So now Demps to the free throw line. Redshirt sophomore out of San Antonio. We've talked about his father, Dell, who was a former NBA player, and now the general manager of the New Orleans Pelicans. Demps will have one more. It's 1 of 2, so 9 points for Demps in the first half. Trice, does he get it off? He does. Raises the front of the rim. And Michigan State heads into the locker room with a 9-point lead. It is 39-30. They finished the first half on a 16-7 run. Let's join Mike Hall, Stephen Bardo, and Sean Morris in Chicago. It's the State Farm Halftime Report. Back at East Lansing, Big Ten basketball presented by Quicken Loans. It's Michigan State on top of Northwestern, 39-30 as we start the second half here in East Lansing. A game the Spartans led by as many as 12. Northwestern had a 1-point lead as their largest lead. It was back and forth for much of the first half. Here's Trey Demps, came off the bench. It was a big spark for the Wildcats, but he misses that one. So Demps getting the start in the second half instead of Abrahamson. Michigan State going with its original starting five.
Gives Northwestern another viable option with Cobb and also Crawford to be able to create off the dribble, but also defensively can cause a little havoc as well.
Now the lob to Costello. Nice pass from Payne, who throws it down. That was well executed, Jimmy.
Well, earlier today in shoot-around, they looked for that pass. They knew that they would hedge towards the side Ola would of Payne, and that's when that lob over the top to Harris and Costello was available. Attention to detail.
Here's Crawford. Now Cobb with a big first half, but he didn't score for about the entire second portion of that first half. He had 12 points for quite some time, and then Valentine answers for Michigan State, and very quickly Chris Collins calling a timeout as Michigan State has ballooned the lead now to 13. It is 43-30, biggest lead of the game for the Spartans.
Denzel Valentine in transition, catch and shoot, doing what he does best. Michigan State up 13. Here's the Motorist Insurance Group drive to the hoop. I want you to keep your eye right here on Matt Costello. He's below Ola in this situation, knowing that they're going to pay concentration to Adrian Payne. Excellent over-the-top pass inside to Costello, which then reciprocates the kindness coming from Gary Harris into Adrian Payne, but also Deshaun Cobb. He had to put more pressure on the passer, for that pass is not a direct pass inside, but that's excellent attention to detail about the scouting report for Michigan State.
They really felt, talking to Tom Izzo today, that they could take advantage of Northwestern inside, and he emphasized wanting to make plays through the paint, even if it's then coming back out on a pass after the initial entry. And now Northwestern having some problems on the offensive end, but the Wildcats will retain possession here.
Well, the heel is out.
Good play by Ola.
Right there. But here's the thing. Coach Collins was telling Drew Crawford, bring the dribble closer to the sideline. That way the entry pass into Ola is easier to get inside. The angle you were at it just there's no way that pass was going to be able to get there cleanly.
So after Payne stepped out of bounds, Northwestern gets the fresh 35, and Cobb goes three-quarter court to Demps. Here's Lumpkin. Now Cobb, way off the mark with that one. Cobb hasn't scored since the 10:46 mark of the first half, so 12 points in the first 9 minutes or so, and since then, nothing.
He's settling for jump shots. Early on, he was really attacking the basket and then allowed the jump shot to happen as a result of that.
Now Payne rattles home a three-pointer for Adrian Payne. 9 points for Payne, already 5 here in the second half. And Michigan State threatening to run away with it.
And because Michigan State has constant movement on the offensive end, a lot of times Northwestern is getting lost. And that's why you see guys from Michigan State just kind of popping up and having the ability to have open jump shots.
Now Cobb hits the three and draws the foul.
Michigan State foul, 45, Valentine. His second, team's first.
And the foul on Valentine, number 2 on him.
Yeah, a little inside-out action with Crawford and Jershawn Cobb, and maybe just get Cobb going. He has a chance to see the ball go in, get to the free throw line, but also, more importantly, Dave, kind of stops the momentum a little bit for Michigan State, allows Northwestern to get back, get their defense set, and try to get another defensive stop.
That lead of 16 was not only the largest of this game for Michigan State, it was the largest in either game against Northwestern. They won by 14 last time, but that was their largest lead of that game. It was a very close game at Evanston until the last 10 minutes or so. Here's Trice. Michigan State really heating up behind the arc. Trice into double figures now with 11.
And for all the guards watching, what you saw with Gary Harris was 2 dribbles off of the pick and roll, which drug out the defense. That opened up that weak side pass back to Travis Trice. Right here, 2 dribble, 2 right there. Now the defense has to shift. Demps caught, do I stay inside or do I stay with Trice? You put him in a precarious situation that time, got too deep inside, couldn't recover. Trice able to knock it down.
That foul is on Harris, number 3 on him. Tom Izzo keeping him out there for the time being. Here's Crawford. Now Cobb. Northwestern unable to get any kind of penetration here. Ola on the entry pass. Now Cobb for 3. Good. 19 for Jershawn Cobb, just 5 off his career high. Now Payne answers with a 3. Michigan State 7 of 12 from 3-point range. 8 points here in the second half for Payne. And again, the lead now at 15.
Far cry from the game at Northwestern when those kind of shots for Michigan State just would not go in.
I mean, think about this, Jimmy. They scored 54 points in that win in Evanston. They have 52 in this one, and there's 16 minutes to go.
And a lot of these shots are the same, Dave. I mean, you're going to have some of those nights where no matter what you do, you get those open shots, they don't go in. But it's a different rhythm, I feel, with Michigan State. But I think it's because the way they began the game. Kind of got inside, got some easy baskets, and then they worked themselves out to the perimeter.
Harris and Valentine both sitting down with 3 fouls. We'll see whether or not that impacts the Spartans. This is something that we were talking about. Some of the guys who might not ordinarily play getting some playing time due to the injuries as Cobb rattles home another one. Jershawn Cobb with 22, 10 here in the second half.
It's amazing when you can see a shot after you've been struggling a little bit, go in after a foul, get to the free throw line, you got a little rhythm, a little mismatch inside with Adrian Payne.
And he's a walking mismatch against this Northwestern team as you see Tom Izzo giving Gene Steratore a little lecture on the finer points of the game. It is 52-50, Michigan State on top of the Cats.
There's Thompson, yes. So he has the record for himself now. What a day for Juice Thompson. 35 points, 22 since halftime.
Michael Juice Thompson, the Big Ten tournament record for points in a game a few years back. The Big Ten tournament is coming. Jimmy, fired up for that back in Indianapolis this year.
I'm pumped. You see our game leaders right now. Jershawn Compa, 22 points. Adrian Payne, 12. Dave, is this year where we really don't know? I mean,
that's for sure.
I mean, because you still have some games left to be played as far as the end of the season on who's going to be crowned the Big Ten regular season champ. But as we've seen through the course of this season, anybody can get beat. And you're playing on the neutral court. You know, the stakes are a little bit higher. I don't know. You know, Michigan State's still healthy to me as a team to beat. But, geez, I mean, Penn State, Minnesota, Ohio State, even though they had their struggles, Michigan combined. I mean, it's just going to be a lot of fun. I thought last year was competitive. This year, maybe even more so.
The dialogue between Tom Izzo and Gene Steratore has been going on a while. Steratore now has to go down on the other side of the court.
Did he switch from the teaching moments, Tom Izzo, to something else?
As Crawford misses, Lumpkin the offensive rebound, and Sanjay Lumpkin puts it up and in for his first two. We showed Jershawn Cobb a minute ago on our Auto Owners Insurance game leaders, Jimmy, with 22. That is too shy of his career high, which was set in the Big Ten tournament. Just wanted to bring it back to the Big Ten tournament a couple of years ago against Minnesota.
But Jershawn Cobb is a guy right there. You see they lost that time. Yeah, that time it's a communication. A lot of times when you switch, you assume that your defensive partner is on the same page and you don't communicate. Well, that time lack of communication allowed Kaminsky to get an easy layup inside.
But Kaminsky, two-point field goals in this game. He had only 5 in the entire Big Ten season coming in. Crawford, that has got to be a goaltend.
Yes.
Or was it a foul on the floor? Gene Steratore saying foul on the floor, so the shot will not count. It's on Alvin Ellis.
But right here.
Oh, they did count it. They did count it. I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. So the foul on Ellis is first, and Crawford then should be shooting one.
Adrian Payne has to be a little smarter in that situation and not give Northwestern that easy two. Fortunately, it wasn't a three-point play because Crawford couldn't complete the free throw.
Northwestern can ill afford to leave points out there. Wildcats down by 11. It's a game Michigan State has led by as many as 16. Now Kaminsky, nice feed for Payne inside, and he's fouled. Adrian Payne just abusing the Wildcats down low. As we remind you, Sunday on BTN, more hoops action. You'll see both of these teams in action on Sunday. Northwestern will play Minnesota at home. Michigan State will be home against Nebraska. Coverage starts at 3 Eastern with the Spartans and the Huskers on BTN and BTN to go.
One thing I don't hear, against Minnesota, I could hear Northwestern calling out the defensive plays. What's going on? The back line. Right now with Michigan State, I don't hear Pete. And a lot of times you can have mistakes defensively, but because you communicate, you can make up for it. And when you don't do that, you give up the layup to Kaminsky, you give up the curl layup to Payne because you're not communicating early.
There's Crawford. Crawford had a lot of trouble with just that against Nebraska, taking the ball into the lane and losing it. Ellis is fouled by Lumpkin, and it will not go. That is number 3 on Sanjay Lumpkin, who has fouled out 7 times this year, the most of the Big Ten. And Ellis nearly able to get that one to roll home.
Yeah, smart play. A lot of, especially young players, wouldn't put that shot up. They'll accept the foul and maybe hold the basketball, but smart play by Ellis to put the ball at the rim. Now he's able to get to the free throw line and take all doubt out of the equation that he was going for a shot.
Alvin Ellis just 55% on the year from the line coming in. Hits the first one.
Well, he played well at Wisconsin, and it's in the situation. He came in and provided solid minutes, in particular early in the first half. He could be a valuable asset again. Playing time now that Keith Appling is not in the game, in the meat of the game at times, gives him confidence as well.
First action of the game for Nathan Taphorn for the Wildcats as Ola gets the offensive board and puts it back up and in. Taphorn wears 32. He is a freshman from Beacon, Illinois. Nice feed by Payne to Kaminsky.
What a luxury it is to have your big man that can step out and shoot the three, is athletic as all get out, but also can make plays off the dribble.
This is Taphorn's specialty, the three-point shot. Misses that one. Payne the rebound, and here come the Spartans again. They have really done a good job of pushing tempo in this game. Ellis, offensive foul, and Tom Izzo not happy with the call.
But even with that, and you see the offensive foul here, Dershawn Cobb was in a good position on the baseline, but how quickly Michigan State, no matter who rebounds the basketball, is able to get up the court. You put so much pressure on the opposing team's defense to load in the lane. That's when those trailing three-pointers come available for Michigan State.
Crawford, his own offensive rebound, had it blocked on the way back up. When we talk about this, Jimmy, it's so much harder to speed a game up than to slow it down. And Michigan State has done a nice job of doing just that, playing faster. And now Taphorn gets called for the foul going for the loose ball. That is number 1 on Nate Taphorn.
Well, sometimes your offense can dictate pace of play for Michigan State. If you have live ball turnovers, which allows Michigan State to get out and run, that feeds into their transition game. If you take long contested shots, that feeds into what they want to do. So offense can really dictate a lot of times, slowing down Michigan State a little bit if they have to take the ball out the hoop, or you kind of converge them on their defensive rebounds.
Mass substitutions for Northwestern, including Gabe Sobolewski, who's now played in 2 of the last 3 games. He comes back from a concussion. Sobolewski's lost his spot in the rotation. Starting point guard each of the last 2 years. Three-pointer out of the corner is good by Ellis. So 5 quick points for him, and the Spartans up by 17.
And even versus the zone, if you can get the ball deep inside, as you see Trey Denton pulling up for a 3, that sucks in the defense, and now with the right pass, you can get an open 3, which we saw for Ellis in the corner.
Michigan State 9 of 14 from behind the arc. Northwestern's opponents shooting under 30% from three-point range this year, so this is no small feat to light up the Wildcats.
Dave, look at the quality of shots that Michigan State is able to get. It's not a lot off the dribble.
Great move, Costello around Torreno.
Now, we have seen that from Costello earlier. By playing in a lot of games, a lot of minutes, now he's more comfortable to make that move.
And Dempsey's foul by Ellis. A timeout on the floor.
No, Matt Costello showing you a little something. I'm not just a rebounder and not a banger. I got little moves. Nice touch off the glass.
Are going to have their first conference tournament title since the new millennium team in 2000. Michigan State takes the Big Ten.
2 years removed from the Spartans winning the conference title. Sparty have a shot to make a run at a national title this year. Of course, a lot of that will be contingent on the health of this team. They're playing without Brandon Dawson and Keith Appling. They've certainly played well here against Northwestern, as you see Draymond Green in attendance, the Golden State Warrior, taking some time off here during NBA All-Star Weekend. Great leaders for Tom Izzo over the last few years, and he has had some remarkable ones, Jimmy.
Yes, he has. Unbelievable talent. And you know, Dave, what jumped out to me about this game, we talked about the offensive rebound and everything. This Wisconsin, Michigan State only had 9 assists to 11 turnovers. They averaged 17. Tonight, 19 assists on 25 made baskets. That's the Michigan State team we're accustomed to seeing this year, spreading the wealth.
Drew Crawford trying to force the action there, called for the travel. That is 8 turnovers for Chris Collins' team.
Well, that time Drew, probably in the last few possessions, trying to do probably a little bit too much, trying to take on 2 or 3 Spartan players at once instead of allowing the offense to kind of dictate the kind of shots that he needs to take. Not in rhythm right now for Drew Crawford.
There's Harris back in the game, playing with 3 fouls. Sobolewski clears the rebound for the Wildcats. of control, but he draws the foul.
And sometimes you can be out of control, but because you're more of the aggressive player, that time you get the benefit of the doubt, and you get the foul. Now you're able to get to the free throw line.
Demps to the free throw line for the Cats, trying to get into double figures for the 16th time this season. He has 9 in this game. Make it 10. So Trey Demps once again in double figures. 8th time in his last 9 games. Taphorn and Chirena sit down.
And Dave, you mentioned earlier about the building blocks, setting the foundation. What Chris Collins has been able to do is take a group of guys and instill confidence, which is what a coach is supposed to do. Set expectation. But once this group figured out that we could be pretty good at something, once they adapted to the system, that became a high-end confidence where they believe they can go in any environment and win games. And that's the difference I see, body language and everything else with the team.
Long 2 there for Gary Harris, so 9 points for him. Talk about this Northwestern team, 3 straight Big Ten road wins. They last won 4 in a row between 1930 and 32, and I think that streak will continue. That one is safe, as they have dug quite a hole here. Lumpkin on his way, and he misses. Payne the rebound. Here's Harris. Not there, ball tipped around, and the rebound to Cobb. Held by Trice. That's the second foul on Trice. Northwestern now will shoot the 1-and-1.
This said, okay, Trice may have grabbed it, but Crawford can wrap around him a little bit. That's part of the conversation he had with Salvatore earlier. You know, kind of the teaching points, the nuances of post defense.
Costello exchanging some words with Izzo on his way to the bench. So now Crawford to the free throw line to shoot the 1-and-1, and Drew Crawford hits the first one. 8 points. He really struggled in the game in Evanston against Michigan State. He, of course, is the first priority for any team playing the Wildcats, trying to slow him down, and the Spartans have done as good a job as anyone this year.
Well, they loaded up a lot of the driving lines, especially when he wants to drive left and try to get into the middle. It's always a body, someone there to take away those driving lanes. So it's made it extremely tough for Drew to kind of get to his sweet spots on the court.
He has 9 points. Needs 8 more to become the 3rd all-time leading scorer in Northwestern history. As Harris misses that one. And now here comes Demps. Crawford elevates to the 3 ball, and he gets it. It's a dozen for Drew Crawford. And Tom Izzo showing some frustration, little exchange of words.
Still teaching.
Now he's working Larry Serrano.
Hey, still teaching.
Yeah. It's a teaching moment for the officials.
Yeah, not just his players in the timeout right here, see? He said, this is what he's saying. When we get down on the offensive end and there's a foul, there's a hook, I need you to call the same thing. He's saying it a little bit, I'm saying a little bit nicer than what he is right now.
What do you think of this schedule ahead for Michigan State?
Well, I mean, we talked about who's in a better state the other day, Michigan or Michigan State. The games they have on the road, they're tough. You know, at Ohio State to end the season. They play Iowa at home, which is a good game, but at Michigan, okay? So they have a little tougher road than I think Michigan just because of those away games. But again, these are the type of games where you need to take care of your business. You can't let these games slip. When Purdue comes in, you can't let it slip in order to set it up so you can win another Big Ten championship.
Nebraska here on Sunday. That's another one again. Nebraska, like this Northwestern team, playing very well. That's a game, though, that you have to win. And whether or not Keith Appling will be available for that game, it seems like they're leaving the door open, the possibility that he might play. But it seems more likely that he would play when they go to Purdue.
I guess my contention with that, see Gary Harris trying to make the move here, is
that one time the open two that barely glances the rim. But as has been one of the themes of the game, Kenny Kaminsky the offensive board, and it's back to 16 for Michigan State.
And to finish my thought on Appling is that you play against Nebraska. Is it completely healed? You don't know. Keith is known for hitting the deck a lot. What if he falls again, re-injures it, and is not ready to go? He has to sit out some more time.
The Red Sea parting there for Crawford, and now 14 for Crawford, so 3 points away from passing Evan Eschmeyer from the 3rd all-time scorer in Northwestern. Out there for Payne, offensive rebound, Kaminsky, and a foul on Lumpkin.
That time backing in. Engaging in a defensive rebound, you really have to get your body connected. And that time it was space between Kaminsky and Lumpkin. And as the ball carried a little bit further, as Lumpkin continued to back up, that is what caused the foul.
Surprised at how poorly Northwestern has done on the defensive glass. They are 62nd in the nation in keeping their opponents off the offensive glass. They were 322 nationally last year, so just a dramatic improvement. And yet this, frankly, kind of looks like they used to look.
Well, here's one thing, though. You got to give Michigan State credit. What they do offensively is force you to move.
Right.
So then it's hard to put a body on somebody when the shot goes up because you have constant movement. That allows them now to sneak in and get those second and third opportunities that we've seen this evening.
Follows on Ola, his 3rd, as Payne goes high for that inbounds pass. Otherwise, you would have corralled that, right?
I'd have got it.
Okay, just making sure.
I still got a little bit of reactions, even sitting down at 44.
Harris. Long 2 for Harris, who's into double figures. Now 11 points for him. Now Crawford tries to answer. That's off the mark. Batted around, and Payne with the rebound as Adrian Payne continues to dominate the glass. That is 13 rebounds for the big man.
I think it's obvious to see how important Adrian Payne is. It's not just offensively, it's just his presence on the court. What he brings you, he garners a lot of attention.
His career high for rebounds, 15. Now Demps with the steal. Demps one-on-one with Trice, lays it in, and that just kind of a silly foul there by Travis Trice.
Gary Harris stepping up, knocking it down, extending the lead for Michigan State.
Basketball on BTN is presented by Quicken Loans for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze. And brought to you by State Farm for auto, home, life, and banking. Get to a better state. And by Case IH. Visit caseih.com/agronomic design. Back at the Breslin Center, Michigan State has controlled most of the way. 71-57, the Spartans on top of Northwestern.
A dominating game from this perspective if you're Michigan State. One, you're moving the basketball, you're sharing the basketball, the sister up. Defensively, you're locking in. You got back to doing what you do well, which is run. After a made basket or on a miss. So for Michigan State, the things that Tom Izzo and the coaching staff wanted to see happen in this game, they were able to execute very well. No fault of Northwestern, but sometimes you go up against a buzzsaw like Michigan State who has it rolling. It's just not too much you can do about it.
Although I would say Northwestern has not played with the intensity on the defensive end that we have seen from them. I think that's part of the explanation for some of the substitution patterns here, frankly, in the second half from Chris Collins.
Yeah, well, you're Northwestern, you can't afford not to do that game in and game out.
Trice got bumped after the shot. No call there, and Ola clears the rebound. See the group on the floor for Northwestern. That is the starting 5 with the exception of Demps in there instead of Abrahamson. Is Crawford now 1 point away from passing Evan Eschmeyer. He has tied him up for 3rd all-time at Northwestern. Of course, John Sherman, who graduated a couple of years ago, is their all-time leading scorer. Billy McKinney, who's a familiar name to fans here in the state of Michigan, played with the Pistons, is their 2nd leading scorer. Valentine with a 3-pointer.
Dave, and the further your point about Northwestern defense, sometimes when you get success like that, especially on the defensive end, and you start to score the ball, the tendency is to slack up on the defensive end. I think we see a little bit of that in this Michigan State game where they're relying more on their offense to try to carry them, but it's their defense that won in the game.
Trice missing that one. Valentine, who has a new career high for points, chases that one down, and then out of the corner, it's Harris. It's raining threes here for Michigan State. This has been awfully impressive. 11 of 19 three-pointers for the Spartans.
I'll tell you what, they haven't played in a while, but the shots that Michigan State are getting right now, I think I can spot up in the corner and knock a couple of them down.
That's kind of my point. I mean, again, I think Northwestern has contributed to its own demise here. And there for Drew Crawford, now with 19 points. So he has passed Evan Eschmeyer. He is the third all-time leading scorer at Northwestern. Has a great chance to pass McKinney as well. So, barring injury, he likely finishes second to John Sherman. Wheeling in on Ola and shooting over him. Adrian Payne has been a force in this game. 16 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists.
And he can do damage. That's why Tom wants him to anchor himself in the post a lot more, because no one can stop him on that turnaround jump shot inside.
Now Ola knocked away on his way up. Northwestern retains possession here. Russell Bird getting set to check back in for Michigan State. He replaces Kaminsky, who leaves with 8 points. Crawford to Demps. Comes out on the hedge. Shot clock at 7. Demps loses it on his way to the basket. And it's Michigan State ball. Demps thought he was fouled. Does not get the benefit of the whistle.
Quick hands that time by Gary Harris, able to poke it away.
Inside to Payne. Near steal, and they do. Lumpkin comes up with a loose ball. Here comes Trey Demps.
Tough pass that time. Denzel tried to thread the needle down to the baseline and traffic.
Here's Crawford. Turn around. Rims out, and the rebound to Harris. 79-62. Michigan State by 17 over the Wildcats. The Spartans shooting better than 55%. They're 11 of 20 from three-point range. And Trice will back it out. MSU trying to get to 11-2 at home this year. It'll be their 46th win in their last 50 home games. As Payne loses it. Turnover for the Spartans. Their 7th of this game. Tom Izzo having some words with Denzel Valentine, sitting on a career high. His team up 17. Thank you, Mike. 17-point lead for Michigan State against Northwestern, and what a performance it has been for Denzel Valentine, our Quicken Loans amazing performance.
We talk about improvement. A young man who's benefited probably more than anyone from the injuries, because he's been asked to do a lot, whether to handle the basketball, be a defensive stopper, be a facilitator. The confidence he has, he's taking care of the ball, making better decisions with the ball. When they get their full complement back, this is a young man that can do a lot of things well for this Michigan State team, and will play a major role in their journey to become hopefully a national championship caliber team.
You saw the career high in points. The 6 assists is one shy of his career high. So he is really having one of the better all-around games of his career, again in the absence of Keith Appley. Nice feed there from Crawford to Ola. 8 points now for Alex Ola. is Valentine working on Lumpkin. And a foul inside. Payne is just a handful. Really for anyone, but in particular tonight for Alex Ola. That is 4 fouls on the Northwestern 7-footer. 7th foul on the Wildcats. So Payne goes to the free throw line trying to add to his 16 points. This is his 15th career double-double. Second most in the Big Ten among active players.
80 points, a really good number for this Michigan State team. 33 consecutive wins when they're able to score at least 80 points. Looks like that holds true this evening.
Now Crawford. Demps with the floater, not there, knocked around. Ola back out to Demps. His feed for Lumpkin, who is fouled.
I tell you what, Trey Demps, I mean, he's on the attack all the time. You miss, you make, he's attacking, he pulls up for his dribble. You like the aggressive nature of this young man of just attacking, not allowing the defense to get settled, then the ability to make a play. Not always looking to score.
Sanjay Lumpkin to the free throw line. The redshirt freshman hits the first one. You mentioned 81 points for Michigan State as Alex Gowna checks in for the Spartans. Northwestern, and the secret to this success, this run that started on January 12th against Illinois, it has been the defense. In the first 3 games in the Big Ten, they just got pounded. The last game they gave up 93 to Iowa, but the previous 2 they gave up well into the mid-70s. Chris Collins said, we're just not going to be able to win games like this. And what Michigan State has done is make them play a game that was much more similar to those they played those first 3 games in the Big Ten than really any they have played here over the last 5 weeks.
Well, let's be honest, Dave. Playing defense is boring. It's not exciting. But if you want to win games like Northwestern, you have to be able to focus in each and every game and pay attention to details defensively. And that's what we haven't seen in this evening.
As we take a look at our Duluth Trading hardest working player, it is Adrian Payne. And remember, Jimmy, I mean, this is just his 3rd game back after missing 7 due to a foot injury, and he has been fantastic.
Well, he's been awesome. I mean, and the thing that really caught my eye, Dave, is he didn't try to force things. A lot of times as a player, when you're hurt, you come back, you're trying to get yourself in rhythm, you force plays. Well, not Adrian. He allowed the offense to come through him. He accepted the double team, kicked it out, trailed on the 3-point shots. But a lot of that goes back to maturity as well, Dave.
And he has now fouled Alex Ola out of the game. That is 5 fouls on Ola. Chris Collins said today, we just don't have a guy who matches up with Payne.
Who does in the Big Ten?
No, I know. I mean, again, that is not unique, right? But I think Northwestern even more challenged in terms of matching up with him than a lot of teams would be. Ola sits down with 8 points and 5 rebounds. Nikola Cherena comes in for the last 158.
But, Dave, that's why it's so important that defensively, who's ever guarding the ball, and they're trying to make an entry pass into Adrian Payne, you have to put pressure on the passer not to allow a straight line pass inside, because if it's that easy, Adrian is going to camp himself deep, and there's nothing so the post player needs help from his guards. Not allow those passes just to be easily being able to just get right deep down inside to Adrian.
Now 19 for Payne, 15 of them here in the second half. It is 17. It's been as large as 19. Demps. That doesn't go, and yet another rebound for Adrian Payne. Now in transition, Gowna. Harris out of the corner. Rattles out, and Cobb the rebound.
The crowd that's left here in the Breslin Center was ready to get on their feet if you would have made that shot.
Foul on Ellis. And some frustration from Gary Harris, but this is what Michigan State wanted to do, Jimmy. They wanted to run.
That's just unselfish basketball, okay? Not trying to do too much. When somebody's open, it sounds simple, Dave. When somebody's open, just give it up. And that was a prime example of your post player pushing it up, getting it to Gowner, who passes it. Ellis passes, and you have an open shot.
Michigan State about to bring in all 4 of its walk-ons. Trevor Bonhoff, Keenan Wetzel, Dan Chapman, and Kobe Wallenman. And Northwestern also going with its 2 walk-ons. James Montgomery III, Aaron Lieberman coming in, along with Sobolewski and Taphorn. As Demps will have 1 more. This game for Trey Demps, 16 points. As Chapman brings it across. Senior by Opus from Michigan. There's Gowner. Working on Lieberman. Now Gowner again. They are insistent that Gowner get a shot up.
He got it up.
And Aaron Lieberman with the rebound for Northwestern.
Yeah, they're going to keep giving it to him. Eventually, it's going up.
At some point, you're going to take it.
That's right.
Final minute of the game here. Jimmy, what do you take from this performance by the Spartans?
Back to Spartan basketball. Defensively, really aggressive. Offensively,
Demps.
Trey Demps off the dribble. Won't be denied. I talked about the aggressive nature of this young man. Real quiet, but will go after you. But, Michigan State, they did what they needed to do, which is dominate the game on the offensive end of the court by imposing the will, but defensively taking away the strengths of Northwestern, which was guys that can create off the dribble to take those gaps away.
There's Wetzel. Final 30 seconds. And now Wetzel in on Lieberman, no call. Wetzel gets it back and puts it in. The junior from Monroe, Michigan, Keenan Wetzel, gets the hoop. 8th and 9th points of the year. Taphorn. That doesn't go. Final seconds winding down here in East Lansing. An impressive performance by Michigan State as they really controlled this game in the final 30 minutes or so. Tom Izzo's team pulling away from Chris Collins' crew. And they win it by the final of 85-70. So the Spartans improved to 21-4 on the year. They move into a first-place tie with Michigan in the Big Ten. They are at 10-2. Northwestern falling to 5-7, second straight loss for the Wildcats.
Tough loss. Northwestern has to kind of get back in the tape room and understand what made them successful. Now, this is going to be a tough game all the way around anyway. But defensively, we talked about it, Dave. We didn't see that same intensity, that same communication. And as a result, Michigan State was able to do any and everything they wanted to offensively this evening.
Adrian Payne, of course, a huge part of that story. 19 points for him. As we look at Payne, and he was inflicting pain, Jimmy.
Well, sometimes you don't understand the value of a player until you miss him. And Adrian Payne has grown so much as a player mentally and physically. He's giving you the inside production, outside production, but the ability to make plays for his teammates. And rest assured, they know he's on the back line. That allows them to push up a little bit better defensively.
20 points and 14 rebounds for Adrian Payne. Again, career double-double number 15 for him. As you see, the Spartans shaking hands with some members of the Izzone. A job well done by Michigan State. And Denzel Valentine was fantastic as well. We talked about him, a new career high in points, one shy of his career high for assists.
Well, it's amazing when you get quality minutes and can kind of expand your game. And I think that's something Denzel Valentine was searching for. And you see the production that he was able to give to Michigan State all the way around.
Michigan State getting ready to host Nebraska on Sunday. Then they go to Purdue before that big showdown with Michigan on February 23rd. That game against Nebraska on Sunday is here on BTN. Northwestern hosts Minnesota on Sunday, also on BTN. So that does it from East Lansing. Again, 85-70 the final. For Jim Jackson, I'm Dave Revson. Now we go to Iowa City.